Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening,
Good
sir.
evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Remember what we have discussed in the last class?
Double starting.
Single trailing, double trailing.
Double
Then,
trailing. Run
then,
statement, data line.
Data line statement.
Data lines.
and then we have seen the run statement as well. So far, we have discussed the data statement. We have discussed the in-file statement. We have discussed the input statement. We have discussed the data line statement, and we have discussed the run statement. So these are the statements that we have seen so far. Now, I want you should know that this statement we are going to use in what scenario? What is the statement that we use when each statement is required? Say, for example, I want to create a data set from in-stream data. When you're creating a data set from in-stream data, what are the statements that we require? You know that this is a program that you will write, data ds1, in file data lines. Then we will write input statement, ID, name, case, writing the data lines. So one ABC 21, 102 DF 27. Now tell me, if I want to create a data set from this in-stream data, what are the statements that we require? Do we require a data statement?
Yes.
Yes, we require the data statement. Without the data statement, you cannot write the data set name. Now, do we require in-file statement?
No.
No.
No, sir.
Not required.
If you don't write the in-file statement, by default, what says things?
In-stream data.
In-stream data. So we do not require in-file statement. But when we have a spaces, when we have a comma, or when we have some other character, in that scenario, you require
In-file statement.
in-file statement.
Statements.
Do you require input statement?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Without input statement, you cannot write the variable name, sir. Yes, we should require. Do you require data line statement?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
required.
Yes, we require the data lines. Now, do you require the run statement?
Not
No.
Yes, sir.
mandatory.
No.
Not mandatory. I told you, without run statement, by keeping simply a semicolon also, we can create a data set, isn't it?
Yes.
So that means run is not mandatory. Now, I want to create a data set from text file. How to create a data set from a text file? You will write a data set name. Then we will write in-file statement.
Path of the.
In the in-file statement, we are going to specify the text file path, path.txt. Then after that, you will keep a semicolon. Then we are going to write input statement. In the input statement, we will specify the variable names. How many variables you want to? You can specify all the variable names. And finally, you will write the run statement. Now, so if you want to create a data set, from text file, do you require data statement?
Yes.
100% you should write the data statement. Otherwise, you won't get the data set name. Do you require in-file statement?
Yes.
Yes.
You have to specify path. So if you want to specify the path, you have to write in-file statement. Now, do you require input statement?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you require. And do we require data lines?
No.
No.
No. Do we require run statement?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you have to write the run statement. Now, I want to create a data set from an Excel sheet. You know how to write the program for an Excel sheet?
Yes. Proc import.
Proc import
Data
data
file
file
equal
is
to
equal to
path
path of
of the
that
file.
Excel sheet. Then
Out equal
out is
to
equal to data set name. Then DBMS is equal to
DBMS equal
XLS.
to XLS
If you want, you can
replace
write the replace semicolon run.
run.
Now, if that is the case, now do we require data statement?
No.
We do not require data statement. Now, do we require in-file statement?
Yes.
Do we
Data
require
file.
in-file?
Data file.
We do not. We do not require
No.
in-file
No.
statement.
No, sir.
Do we require input statement?
No.
No, sir.
No.
Do we require data lines?
No.
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 Do we require run statement?
Yes.
Yes.
We
Yes.
require. Yes, we require run statement. Now, I want to create a dataset from CSV file. Tell me, do you require data statement?
No.
In file,
No.
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 input,
No.
No.
data lines,
No.
run statement.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we require run statement. Now, I want to create a data set from MS Access file. Tell me, do you require data statement?
No.
And by the way, you know how to write the program? Proc
Yes.
import,
Proc import.
table is equal to
Tab is
table name,
equal to
out is equal to
out
data
equal
set
to
name,
data set name.
DBMS is equal to
DBMS is equal
access,
to access.
DBMS is equal to access. If you want, you can
Access.
hit the replace option,
Replace.
semicolon, then database is
Data
equal to
is equal to
Database.
path. Run.
Excuse me, somebody is speaking.
So do we require data statement in this scenario? No.
No.
In-file statement? No. Input statement? No.
No.
Data lines? No. And yes, we require run statement.
Run.
I want to create a data set from existing data set. You know how to write the program from existing data set? Data, new data set name,
New
set old
set.
data set name, run.
Run.
So in this scenario, do you require data statement?
Yes.
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 In file, no.
No.
Input, no.
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 Data lines, no. Run statement, yes. Accessing dataset from external folder. I want to access the dataset from external folder. Say for example, here on my desktop, I have a CDs folder. In the CDs folder, I have SD raw folder. In the raw folder, I have so many datasets. I want to access all these datasets. How we will access?
Create folder to the
Folder.
Already it is there in the folder, no?
Path of the folder.
What you should do? You can,
Create a library in
the SAS.
don't say that copy the folder. We'll create a library. So by creating a library, we can access all the datasets. You know how to create a library?
Yes, sir.
I'm copying the path, shift right click, copy as path. Now go to the program. You should write lib name,
Name.
library name, path of the folder, semicolon.
Path of the folder.
If I execute this program, yes, we will get a new library called raw library. In that, we can find all the datasets which are present in that raw folder. So, if you want to access the dataset from an external folder, do we require data statement?
No.
Where we have data statement?
No, sir.
We do not require data statement. In file?
No.
No. Input? No.
No.
Data lines not required. And
No.
run? Not required. Monica Reddy. We're getting our video. Now, in external folder, I have so many data sets, but I want to access one data set. I want to access only one data set from external folder. Say, for example, again, here I have, say, for example, some domain, any domain, say some folder. Here I have an oncology folder. In the oncology folder, I have oncology data. Here I have data sets. Now, what I want to do, I want to access only this data set. How we can access only this data set? But if you create a library, you can see all the data sets, no?
File name.
No, sir. Set, sir.
By
By
using
using set,
a set
and
segment, you can do
path
that.
of the.
See what I'm going to do? I'm going to get the path of this data set, copy as path. Now go to the program. Now I'm writing data set name, set path of the text
Path
data
of the.
set, semicolon, run. Can you see here what is the path I'm writing? This is data set path. Now, if I execute this program, now in the work library, I am going to have demo data set. So in this scenario, now tell me, do you require data statement or not? Do you require in file?
No, no. No.
Input,
No. No.
data lines,
No.
run statement.
Run. Yes.
Require run statement. Now finally, I want to create a data set from database. You know how we write the program if you want to create data set from a database? Remember?
Actually, no.
Proc SQL, create a table,
Username,
table
password.
name. Before that, very good. You should write connect to database name. User is equal to username.
Username, password.
Password is equal to password name. Then create a table name as select star from connection to. Again, one more time, you should write database name. Now, within the parenthesis, you should write select star from table which is present in the database, and we should write
disconnect from all.
disconnect from that Oracle quit. This is how we write the program. Now, tell me, in this scenario, do you require data statement?
No, sir.
Yes.
No.
Sir, this thing we don't know, sir.
Um,
Database.
I will show you later because I do not have a database connection to my laptop. I will show you later. Okay. But this is the program we write. If you want to execute this program, you should have a database connection to your system. Understand? But we do not have that connection. I do not have the connection right now to my personal laptop. So that's why if I execute this program, it will show you an error saying that connection we do not have. We do not have a Oracle interface connection. Understand? I will show you later. Nivedita, got it?
Yes, sir.
Now, tell me if I want to create data from data set, Do you require data statement? Do
No.
you have anywhere data statement in this?
No, sir.
In file statement,
No, sir.
input,
No.
data lines,
No.
and we write
Quit statement.
instead of run, we write the quit statement. If you could able to understand this table, so that means I can understand, what and all the statement that we learned, and when did we use each statement? When should we use each statement? Everybody got an idea about this table now? Did you understand this table?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is what we have seen so far. Now, after this one, we are going to discuss a very important topic in today's class. Data. I want to create a DS1 data set. I'm writing input. I want to have ID, name character variable, age, sex character variable. Then I want to have a salary. Then I'm writing the data lines. 101 ABC, 21 female, 5000. 102 DF, 23 male, 7000. 103 KLM, 25 female, 9000. 104 XYZ, 27 male, 9500. And finally 105 PAS, 29 female, 9900. Now this is my data set. If you want to execute this data program, what you should do? Now I'm selecting this program. I'm executing this program. Now go to the libraries, work library. If you open this data set, now we can find how many variables we have and how many observations we have in this data set. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Now that is okay. We know that what is going to happen. The next one, what I want to do now, before opening this data set, now I'll go to the log window and I want to find what information that we have in the log window. Whatever the code that we submitted, that will appear black in color. When the program successfully got executed, we can find that information in the note blue color. If you read this one carefully, we can understand certain things. The dataset work.ds1 has 5 observations and 5 variables. So when I execute the program, it created DS1 dataset and it has been created in work library. I told you, if you write a one label naming, by default, the dataset will be get created in the work library. And this dataset has got 5 observations and 5 variables. And the next one is data statement used the real time 0.01 seconds and the CPU time 0.00 seconds. So that means when I execute the program within 0.01 second time, the dataset has been created. Not even a 1 second, 100th part of the second, it created a dataset. So almost nothing, isn't it? 0.01 second low program execute అయిపోయి dataset create అయిపోయింది. But I want to know what exactly happened during this 0.01 seconds time. In the backend, when I select the program, when I execute the program, in that 0.01 second time, what exactly happened? I want to know that backend process. So since this is a data step, I want to know the data step process. What exactly happened in the backend? If you could able to understand this concept, in future, if you have any errors in your program, you can easily understand and you can easily rectify the errors on your own. So in today's class, we are going to discuss about that backend process, or we also call it as an data step process. Very, very important. If you want to go as a fresher or 1 or 2 years experience, definitely you will get 1 or 2 questions from this concept. Very, very important. Both interview point of view, understanding the SAS backend mechanism point of view, very, very important. Understand? So what is the backend process and what is the data step process? How the program will execute in the backend. Okay. Now, so whenever you select the program and whenever you execute the program, so you select the program, then what you will do? So this is the program. I have SAS program I have written. And now I selected the program. Now I'm going to click on the F3 button or submit button, run button. When I click on the F3 button, first what it will do? It will check for syntax errors. It will check for syntax errors. First ఏం చేస్తుందండి సింటెక్స్ ఎర్రర్స్ ఏమైనా ఉన్నాయని చెక్ చేసుకుంటున్నాను. సింటెక్స్ ఎర్రర్స్ అంటే ఏంటి? సో ఇట్ ఈస్ గోయింగ్ టు చెక్ ఫర్ సెమీకోలన్ ఎర్రర్స్ ఆర్ స్పెల్లింగ్ ఎర్రర్స్. సెమీకోలన్ ఎర్రర్స్ కానీ స్పెల్లింగ్ ఎర్రర్స్ ఏమైనా ఉంటే వాటిని సింటాక్స్ ఎర్రర్స్ అంటామండి. It will check for those errors. If you have such errors, it will throw that errors in the red color in log window. ఎర్రర్స్ మనకి ఎలా కనిపిస్తాయండి? రెడ్ కలర్ లో లాగ్ విండో లోపల కనిపిస్తాయి. చూడండి ఒకసారి నేను ఏం చేస్తాను, ఇన్పుట్ ఆఫ్టర్ రైటింగ్ ఆల్ ద వేరియబుల్ నేమ్స్ ఐ ఫర్గాట్ టు రైట్ semicolon. Now I'm executing the program. So before that, I'm going to close the data set. I'm executing the program. If we have a syntax error, now can you see that error will appear in the log window in red color? We should not have a syntax error in our program. If we have a syntax error, you have to rectify that one. So now I know what is my error. I'm going to rectify by keeping a semicolon. Now I select my program and execute the program. Since we do not have any errors, now the program will be get executed. So now, say for example, you do not have any errors in the program. Then what is going to happen? When you execute the program, if you do not have any errors, now the next step will take place. What is the next step it is going to be? Now, from now onwards, the entire process we can divide into 2 steps. The entire process we can divide into 2 steps. The first one is called as a compilation phase. And the next step we call it as an execution phase or execution stage. We can say compilation phase, or you can also say compilation stage, execution phase, or you can also say execution stage. Understand this one? Could you able to follow what I'm saying? Now, the first one is the compilation phase. During the compilation phase, what is going to happen? Now, again, we can divide the compilation phase into 3 parts. The first one is called as an input buffer, and the second one is called as an descriptor portion or descriptor area, and third one is called as an PDV. PDV is nothing but a program data vector. Program data vector. Don't get confused. I'm going to explain each and everything. So during the compilation phase, again, the total compilation phase we can divide into 3 important steps. One is input buffer. The second one is called descriptor area. And the third one is called PDV. PDV means program data vector. Now, I will explain diagrammatically what exactly happens during the compilation phase. So this is the program that I submitted. So this is the program that I submitted. I told you as soon as how to submit the program, you are going to click on the F3 button or run button. Now the program will be get executed. I told you Now we can divide our program into two steps, compilation phase and execution phase. And again, I told you, in the compilation phases, we have three important steps again. One is input buffer. The second one is called descriptor area. And the third one is called PDV. Now, the first one is going to be input buffer. How this input buffer looks like, the input buffer, it just look like a railway track, like this one. And we are going to have number of boxes like this one. This is how exactly a input buffer looks like. This input buffer will be get created in a lot. In a say for example, where you install SaaS software in your system. Generally, మీ SaaS software ని మీ system లో ఎక్కడ install చేస్తారండి? Generally, we install in C drive. When you install SaaS software in a C drive, we will allocate some space for the SaaS, maybe 20 GB or a 30 GB. In the 20 and 30 GB, this input buffer will be get created. As soon as the input buffer has been created, you know what is going to happen? The first record in our program will come and join in this input buffer. So that means here we are going to have 1, 0, 1 space A, B, C space, and we are going to have A's value 21 space. Then we are going to have female.
Some types
F.
of it, sir.
Pardon?
Some types of it, sir. Close it.
I didn't get you.
Tabs. Some types of it, sir. Microsoft whiteboard open, sir.
What happened to you?
Microsoft whiteboard is open, sir. I'm unable to see a screen, sir.
Nobody can see my whiteboard.
We can see, sir.
Yeah, we can.
Harish, what is your
We can
problem?
see,
I didn't get you.
Microsoft whiteboard is open, sir.
Okay, that is what I'm explaining. There only I'm explaining, no?
Okay, sir.
Now, the salary value also will be joined in this input buffer, and this is called input buffer. As soon as the first record comes and joins in this input buffer, now it is going to do some important housekeeping work. Now tell me, if I execute this program, where this data set will be get created? In the work library.
Work
Now,
library.
it is going to check whether it can create in the work library or not. So if you want to create this data in the work library, you should have some memory, isn't it? Here, I have only 5 observations and 5 variables. It won't take much memory. Just imagine the real time, I have 200 variables and 10 lakhs observations. What will happen? It will take some memory, maybe 200 MB or 300 MB. First, it will check whether in the work library, we have that much space or not. If you do not have a space, then the program will be get stopped. But if you have enough memory, then the next step will take place. Now it is going to check what is the length of input record, what is the length of the input record, and after that it is going to check how many variables we have in this data set. In the input statement, how many variables we have. So now from this onwards, now what is going to happen? The next important step, descriptor area or descriptor portion will be get created. We call it as a descriptor area. What is going to be in the descriptor area? In the descriptor area, it will save all the variables and its characteristics. All the variables and its, we call it as attributes. What are the attributes that will be get saved? Can you tell me in the program what is the first variable that we have? In the input statement, what is the first variable that we have?
ID.
ID. Now
ID.
the variable is going to be saved here. Now tell me what is the data type of ID variable in the program?
Numerical.
Numerical. And what is the length of the variable? I told you by default, by default when you write input statement, the length by default 8. What is the second variable that we have? The second variable that we have is name.
Name.
It is a character variable and the length is by default 8.
8.
8.
And the third variable is age variable. And this is a numerical variable. By default, the length is 8. And the fourth variable that we have is a sex variable. It is a character variable and the length is 8. And then we have a salary variable. It is a numerical variable and by default the length is 8. So that means in the descriptor area, what information it saved? It saved the variable name, the variable data type, and the variable length. Understand this one? Variable name, variable data type, and a variable length. We know only these three things so far, but it will save other information as well. You know what are that other information? If we have a label for that variable, the label also will be saved in the descriptor area. If we have an informat that you don't know about the informat yet, that informat also will be saved in the descriptor area. If you have a format that variable, that format also will be get saved in the descriptor area. But so far, we do not know about label and we do not know about informat and we do not know about the format. That's why I am not writing those label, informat and format yet. Now, what is this information? You know what? I want to put this information into a data set, into a table. ఈ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ అంతా నేను ఒక టేబుల్ లోపల పెడదాం అనుకుంటున్నాను. To keep this information in a table, I am creating few variables. Now I am saving the variable information in a place. This is not exact actual data. Is this actual data? No. To save the actual information, actual data in a table, I am creating few variables. Now I am saving that variable information. Understand this one? I will tell you a simple example so that you can easily understand what is this. So for example, I have very candid picture of me. I like my picture this very much. This is my picture. I love this one. Now I want to keep it in my drawing room. So what should I do? If I keep my picture like this one, it is going to get damaged. So I went to the Photoshop, like a photo frame shop. Then I had given my picture to them. What they will do? So they're going to put this picture in a photo frame, like this one. When they're doing the photo picture, I had given certain instructions saying that I want to have on all the four sides, I want to have wooden strips. In the back end, I want to have a metallic sheet. And in the forehand, I want to have a glass. And I want to have a hook on the top of like this one. Now, the Photoshop person is put wooden strips on the four sides. Understand? In the back side, he put a metallic sheet. On the front side, he put in a glass sheet. And on the top, he put in a hook. So I can hang this one to my, a wall. And now I went to that Photoshop person. Now I asked him, did you do this one according to my instructions or not? And he said yes. Then how can I believe him? He did according to my instructions or not? Then he will show me what are the materials that he used to keep this metal, what he call wooden straps. He will show me that. He will show me the bills and everything. By seeing that, I can understand what brand that he used, what quality that he used, how much price it has been. He can tell everything. In the same way, he showed me what is the purchase bill that he got from for the metallic sheet and on the front glass sheet, and what is the material that he used for hook. He showed all the evidences, documents. So now I can believe that what and all he has done or not. Understand this one? Now tell me, in this whole process, what is the most important thing? My picture. Just imagine my picture is the data. To keep this data safely in organized manner, what I did now? I have constructed a photo frame. Now I put all the photo frame information. What is the material they used? How much price they collected? How they did. If I collect all this information, if I keep that information in one place, do you think is this the real data? Whatever the photo frame, glass sheet or metallic sheet or wooden strips, If I save that information at one place, do you think is that real data? Actual data?
No.
No. Actual data is my picture. To keep my picture in very organized manner, I use certain materials to keep protected in this one, safe in this one. Now I'm saving that information. We call it as a metadata.
Not audible.
Not audible, sir.
Okay, am I audible now? Guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is not actual data. To safely keep my data, I am using some scaffolding, some supporting material, and I'm saving that supporting material. What we called as this is called as a metadata. And metadata is not actual data. To keep the data, I'm creating a table. I'm saving the table data. And the table data is called as a metadata. In the same way, here, to put all these 5 observations in a table, I created certain variables. Now I'm saving all the table information at one place, all the variable information at one place. Now this data is called as ఏమంటామని చెప్పి దీన్ని మనం metadata అని చెప్పి పిలుస్తుంటాం. What do you mean by metadata? Metadata is nothing but data about data. Understand everybody? What is the data? What we can find in the metadata? In the metadata, we can find variable attributes. What are the variable attributes that you know? So far, we know 3 variable attributes. What are that one? Variable name. We know variable data type, whether it's in a character value or numerical variable, and we know variable length. So these 3 are called variable attributes. Along with these attributes, from tomorrow onwards, we are going to see it also saves the label of that variable. It also saves in format of that variable. This is also called as an attribute, and it is also saves format of that variable. These 6 things are called variable attributes. This information will be get saved in the descriptor area, and this information is called metadata. Metadata is nothing but data about data. Is this clear for everybody? Very, very important metadata. In the interview, they're going to ask you, you created data set. How do I know that you created this data set according to my wish or not? Now I'm going to look into the descriptor area. By seeing the descriptor area, I will come to know that how you created the variables, what is the data type that you have given, what is the length you have given. I can check everything here. So that's why in the real time, yes, data is very important. Along with the data, metadata is also very, very important. Understand this one?
Sir, can you repeat about the data about this?
Data about data is nothing but to keep this information. What are the variables I'm creating in the program? నాకు ఈ 5 అబ్జర్వేషన్స్ 5 రికార్డ్స్ ఒక డేటా సెట్ లోపల పెట్టాలి. దీనికోసం నేను ఏ వేరియబుల్స్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తున్నాను? ఏ వేరియబుల్స్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తాను ప్రోగ్రామ్ లో? కెన్ యూ టెల్ మీ? I created ID variable, name variable, age variable, I created sex variable, and I created a salary variable. So I created ID variable, name variable, age variable, sex variable, and salary variable. Now, if I open this one, how do you know that which variable is a numerical variable, which one is a character variable, which one is a, what is the length of each and every variable? How do you know that one? If you want to know that, you should look into metadata. Where we have the metadata? The metadata is present in the descriptor area. I will show you in the tomorrow's class how to look into that metadata, how to look into the descriptor area. What information that you can find in the descriptor area? Name of the variable, data type of the variable, length of the variable, label of that variable, informate of that variable, and the format of these 6 things are called variable attributes. This information will be get saved in the descriptor area, and this is called metadata. What is metadata? Metadata is nothing but data about data. Understand this one?
Yes.
Now, once you're done with the descriptor area, the next thing is the most important. The third one is going to be PDV. Next thing create అవుతుందండి ఇప్పుడు PDV. What do you mean by PDV? Program data vector. How this PDV looks like? A PDV just looks like a number of boxes like this one. We are going to have one box for one variable. So the first variable is ID variable. We are going to have an ID in one box. The next variable is a name variable. Name is going to be in one box. The next variable that we have an age variable, and the next one that we are going to have a sex variable. Then we are going to have a salary variable. And again, each box is going to get divided into 2 halves. In the first half, we are going to have variable name, and this is a numerical variable, and the length is 8. Name is a character variable, length is 8. Age is a numerical variable, length is 8. Sex is a character variable, length is 8. And then we have the final variable, salary variable, and it is also a numerical variable, and the length is 8. And you should know one more thing. By default, all the numerical variables are going to have period symbol in the PDV. And all the character variables are going to have blank space in the PDV. Now, can you see name and sex is going to have a blank space, but ID, age, and salary having a period symbol or dot symbol. This is a default. And now, along with the variables that what we have in the input statement, now we are going to have 2 more extra variables. We are going to have a variable called underscore error underscore, and we are going to have one more variable called underscore n underscore. These 2 variables are called automatic variables. These 2 variables are present only in PDV. You cannot see these variables in the output data set. In the data set, we can see only the variables that what we have written in the input statement. Since these 2 are automatic variables, by default, we are going to have drop option at the end of the PDV. That's why these 2 variables will be get dropped in PDV itself. And by default, underscore error underscore at the starting, we are going to have a 0. Underscore n underscore is going to have value 1. This is PDV. By the end of the compilation phase, this is the setup we are going to have in the backend. Now we'll see one more time what we have at the end of the compilation phase. By the end of the compilation phase, the first record is present in the input buffer. Each character is present in one box, and all the descriptor information, attributes, or metadata has been saved in the descriptor area, and PDV has been created. In the PDV, we have one variable we have one box for each variable. And along with that, we have 2 automatic variables. Those are underscore error underscore and underscore n underscore. All the numerical variables is going to have a dot symbol. All the character variables having a blank space. Underscore error underscore has got a value 0. underscore n underscore as a value 1. This is the end of compilation phase. Clear, everybody? This is end of the compilation phase. Now, once the compilation phase has been over, now the next important step will take place, which is called execution phase. Clear and everyone? Compilation phase ayitapudiki clarity vachindandi emuntundo?
Yes, sir.
Now the execution phase will take place. How the execution phase will take place? Again, I'm going to give a general example so that you can easily understand how the execution phase will execute. Anybody cast your vote in the public election, general election? Anybody?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
If you casted your vote, how the voting process will take place? So, for example, this is a polling booth, a polling station. A polling station is going to have an entrance and we are going to have an exit. So, whenever you want to cast your vote, you will go with your voter slip into the polling station, isn't it? Now, in the polling station, first you can see the first polling officer. Whenever you go to the polling station, you'll reach the first polling officer. He's going to check whether you have an vote in that list or not. And he will check your identity proofs. And if you have a vote in that list, he is going to put a tick mark. And then from that, you will move into the second polling officer. Now, the second polling officer will take a signature from you and he is going to give a ballot paper. And then you will go to the third polling officer. Now, the third polling officer is going to give a stamp and he is going to put an ink mark on your finger. Then now you will go to the secret area. There you are going to cast your vote. And then finally, you will come to the fourth polling officer. Now here we can find a ballot box. Now we are going to keep your ballot paper in that ballot box and you will come out of that polling station. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if there is 100 voters, if they want to cast the vote, all the 100 voters should follow the same cyclical order. You cannot go in the reverse order, or you cannot go in between and you can come backside, or you cannot go foresight. All the time, what we should do, we should always go in one same cyclical order. All the 100 voters should follow the same order. First, you should go to the first polling officer, then you should move to the second one, then the third one, then the fourth one, and then the last, and you should come out of. Ikkada third polling officer ఖాళీగా ఉన్నాడని చెప్పి you cannot directly go to the third one, isn't it? Understand what I'm saying? Just now, imagine each voter is a record. Each voter is a record, and each polling officer is a statement. Each polling officer is a statement. Each record is in a voter. Now we'll come to our program. Right now, where we have our first record? Where we have our first record?
In ID variable.
In the input buffer,
ID variable.
isn't it? Our record is present in the input buffer. Now, the record which is present in input buffer now will be get executed by each statement one time. What is the first statement that we have? Data DS1. So that means what it will do now, it will create a data set. Data DS1. That means what it will do? It will create now. It will create a data set in the work library. It will create a data set in the work library. And in that, we are going to have a variable called ID. We are going to have a variable called name. Then we are going to have a variable called age. Then we are going to have a sex. then we are going to have a variable called salary. Now, first statement executed, then it will move to the second statement. What we have in the second statement? What is the second statement that we have in the program?
Input.
Input.
Now, it will start here. Okay, in the input statement, it will start here. I told you in the backend we are going to have input pointer. It will start here. The rule is space or 8 characters, whichever comes first, it will stop there. Now 1, 0, 1 space. Now this 101 now will come from input buffer into PDB. So the 10 will come over here. And after the space, again it will start here. A, B, C space. Now A, B, C will come into which variable now? It will come into PDB name variable. After the space, again we have a 2, 1 space. Now the 21 will go to which variable now? In the PDB, it will go to age variable. And after the space, we have F again space. Now F will come into which variable now? 6 variable. And after the space, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, 4 space. Now 5,000 will come into which variable now? That will come into salary. As soon as the value has been moved from input buffer into PDB, now the input buffer will be get cleaned off. What will happen? The input buffer will be get cleaned off. Now, right now, where we have the observation? The observation is present in PDB. You know, if you write it or not, by default, before the run statement, here we are going to have a statement called output. This is the default. You no need to write that one. By default, we are going to have an output statement. And what this output statement will do, that output statement will write that observation in the output data set. So first it has been executed by data statement, then it has been executed by input statement, and then again data lines is only statement it will tell you we have the in-stream data, then we have an output statement. Now output statement will write the data in the output data set. So that means now from the PDB, now the observation will come into data set. So 101 will come here, ABC will come over here, then 21 will come here, and a female come here, and 5,000 will become here. I told you by default underscore error underscore will be get dropped because automatic variables will be get dropped here in the PDB. That's why only these 5 variable values now will come into data set. This is the DS1 data set. This is what exactly we can see now in the work library. This is what we are seeing here in the work library, this one. Now tell me how the observation moved. The observation first entered into the input buffer. From the input buffer, it entered into that PDB. From the PDB, it entered into data set.
Sir,
If
what does that
yes,
underscore indicate, sir?
I will tell you.
Okay, sir.
If an observation moves from input buffer into PDB, from the PDB into output data set, that we call it as a one cycle. And in SAS terminology, in programming terminology, we call it as an iteration. Some people call it as an iteration, but we should call it as an iteration. An iteration is nothing but a cycle. In a general language, how we can say if a statement, if an observation or a record, it has been executed by each statement one time, that is called as an one iteration or one cycle. అంటే ఒక్కొక్క అబ్జర్వేషన్ ఒక్కొక్క స్టేట్మెంట్ ఒక్కొక్కసారి ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అయ్యింది అనుకోండి, దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ వన్ ఐటరేషన్ ఆర్ వన్ సైకిల్. As soon as the observation moved from PDB into data set, now the PDB is going to get cleaned off. First cycle got over, and now the second cycle started. Now underscore n underscore is going to become 2. Now it is ready for the second cycle. Now what is going to happen now? Now the second observation will come into input buffer. What is the second observation that we have? 1, 0, 2. And then we have a DEF, DEF, and then we have a space, and we have a 23, and after that we have a M, and then what we have after that one, we have a 7,000. Now that will come into input buffer. Now it will be get executed by each statement one time. So in that way, now that the observation will move into now PDB. Now 102 will come into ID, DF will come into name, 23 will come into age, male M is going to come into sex, and the 7,000 will come into salary. Now from that, again, what will happen now? It will enter into output data set. Now we are going to have a 102, DF, 23, male, 7,000 will come into output data set. Now that means the second observation moved into input buffer. From that input buffer, it moved into PDB. From the PDB into it moved into data set. That means this is the second cycle, second iteration or second iteration. Now for each iteration, the underscore n underscore value is going to become +1. Understand this one? For the first cycle, underscore n underscore value 1. For the second observation, second cycle, the value has become 2. Every time it is going to increment with +1. Third observation, third cycle 3, 4, 5. So tell me, how many cycles it takes place now?
5 cycles.
Since we have
Five.
observations, so 5 cycles will take place. For the first observation, underscore n underscore is going to become 1. For the second observation, it will be 2. For the third observation, it will be 3, and so on and so on. Since you do not have any error underscore is going to be 0. Since the program successfully got executed, these two are automatic variables. You cannot see this one. That is going to get remains present only in the backend. Understand this one?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, what I'm going to do? Yes.
Underscore error underscore use ఉంటుంది సార్.
Since you do not have any error, the by default underscore error underscore value will be 0. But if you have a error in our program, then underscore error underscore value is going to become 1. I will show you that one. Now, this is the program I have. Now, see, wantedly, I'm committing a mistake. So generally, name దగ్గర ఏం రాయాలండి మనం ఇప్పుడు name character data ఉంది కాబట్టి what should I write? I should write
Dollar symbol.
but I didn't write the dollar symbol. So that means there is an error in my program. Now I'm selecting this program. First of all, I'm going to delete this data set. I will execute the program. Now you know what is going to happen. What will happen in the DS1?
Blank.
You will get
No,
the data
data
except a name variable.
name variable.
According to this program, now, can you tell me name is a numerical or
Period
character?
symbol.
Character
Character
Numerical.
variable.
No, according to
Character.
this program.
Numerical.
numerical data.
If I don't write, if I didn't write the dollar symbol, that means this variable is a numerical variable.
Numerical.
Now I'm opening the DS1 data set. I told you all the numerical variables in the PDB is going to have period symbol.
Period.
Since the data is calculated, it couldn't able to get it. That's why what we have a period symbol. Now that is okay. We know that one, but what exactly happened? Now I want to check. I'm going to the log window. Now can you see we have some information in the log window? Now by seeing this one, you can understand now. Now can you see what we have here? Invalid data per name in line
In
61.
line 61.
Fifth column to seventh column. Line 61 low, fifth column to seventh column, like invalid data unnadu. We'll see this is the first column, second, third, fourth, this is the fifth column, fifth, sixth, seventh. So from fifth column to seventh column, we have invalid data. Why it is invalid data? Because the name is a numerical variable. Data is coming character data. That's why it is invalid data. So now I'm going to the log window. Now can you see? This is the observation that we have 101 ABC 21 F5000. Now ID went into 101 went into ID. Can you see what we have in the name variable? Dot symbol, period symbol. Because name is a numerical variable, data is coming character data. It couldn't able to read it. Now age data proper ga undi, sex F, salary 5000. Now since we have error in this program, in this record, now can you see what is the underscore error underscore that we have?
1.
1.
And since it's the first cycle, what is the underscore n underscore value that we have?
1.
1.
Now, I told you this is called input buffer. This is how an input buffer looks like. When we have error in the program, then only you can see this information. But if you do not have error in our program, say for example, I'm going to rectify my error. Now we cannot see this information in the log window. Now see, if you go to the log window, there's no such information. So now I'm committing a mistake again. I forgot to write a dollar symbol. Now again, we can see this information in the log window. Can you see this one? No matter how many errors we have, say for example, I forgot to write the dollar symbol for sex also. How many errors that I have? 2. In one observation, I have 2 errors. But still, how many errors that we have? Underscore, error underscore always is going to become only 1. If you do not have any error, it will be 0. If you have an error, అది ఒక రికార్డ్ ఒక వేరియబుల్ అవనివ్వండి 2 వేరియబుల్స్ అవనివ్వండి 3 వేరియబుల్స్ అవనివ్వండి the underscore error underscore value will be 1. Understand this one? Now,
So error value is constanted, sir.
Either 1 or a 0. If you do not have error, the value will be 0. But if you have an error, the value will be 1. So now I'm going to rectify my errors. So I'm keeping my dollar symbol here and I'm keeping the dollar symbol after the sex also. Now, do we have any errors now? No. So you cannot see underscore n underscore n underscore also. You cannot see that one. But still I want to see. Now, if you want to see any variable in the log window, we use a statement called put statement. In the put statement, I'm using an option called underscore all underscore. You know what you mean by underscore all underscore? That means please write all the variables which are present in the PDB. PDB లో ఏ variables చూడండి diagram చూసి చెప్పండి. What variables that we have in the PDB?
ID, name, age, sex,
ID,
salary.
name, age, sex, salary.
Error
Plus
underscore n underscore
underscore and we have underscore n underscore. So if you want to see all the variables of the PDB, now we should write a statement called put underscore all underscore. Now, if I select the program, execute the program, yes, we'll get a data set, that is fine. But if you go to the log window, now it is going to print all the variables. So ID is equal to ID value, name is equal to name value, age is equal to age value, sex is equal to gender value, salary is equal to. Now, since I do not have any error, can you see what is the underscore error underscore that I have? 0.
0.
First observation, first cycle, underscore n underscore is equal to 1. Second cycle, second observation, second iteration, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is called underscore error underscore. Very, very important interview question. They will ask you, what are the automatic variables that you can see in the PDB? What is your answer? Underscore error underscore, underscore and underscore. What is underscore error underscore value? If you do not have any errors, underscore error underscore value will be 0. But if you have any error, then underscore error underscore is equal to 1. Then what is underscore n underscore? Number of iterations or number of cycles. For the first observation, underscore n underscore is 1. For the 10th observation, underscore n underscore value is 10. How many observations we have in data set, those many times the program will be get executed. So underscore n underscore 1 to that many number of observations. Understand this one?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is called a backend process or a data step process. Okay, we'll continue this one, and in tomorrow's class, we'll see data step reporting. Next 2 classes are going to be very, very important. Don't miss the classes. Okay?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So no matter how many errors we did, but the value would be remain 1 now, sir.
1 only. In one observation, if you have committed 10 mistakes also, then underscore error underscore is going to be only 1.
1. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, sure.
Yeah.
Sir, I have few doubts in this task infile and input statement task.
Okay. Is it 8A?
Sir, actually, I have a doubt in infile statement 13th question.
13 in the sense which document it is? Which file?
It is data 8, sir.
8A, right?
Yes.
You won't get the data. There is an error in the data.
And also, sir, data 5.
What is the problem? You can read now by
Sir,
using
yeah,
ESD.
actually, sir, I'm able to get it, but like if I execute this one, I'm getting 21 observations, and the last observation is blank.
It's empty, right?
So
Somebody, what they did, they written something here, okay, like this one, and they deleted it.
Okay.
Otherwise, they kept like this one. Can you see if I keep my space bar like this one?
Okay.
Can you see this one? This is the problem.
Yes.
What you should do? Give a backspace so that when that empty space will be get deleted. Now we'll get only 20 observations.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes. Yes, sir, that's it.
Okay. Okay. Then.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anybody?
Sir, how to increase program length in editor window?
There is no. You can. That is like you can write whatever the length you want. You can write no program. See.
Increase the size, sir.
Yeah, it will get increased. Immense letter size
Yes, sir.
or the length of that line. So what
For
you want to increase the font size, right?
yes, sir. Font size.
Did you were you not there in that my initial classes?
No, sir.
Can somebody tell me how to increase the size, letter size?
Tools.
Rules,
Tools.
Options.
options,
Enhance editor.
enhance it.
Enhanced editor.
Here you can size this size.
Appearance.
Got it? Hamachandra?
Yes, sir.
Or input task 8.
Eighth one, you won't get it. There is a problem in the data.
Yes, sir.
You won't get that eighth one.
Okay,
Done
sir.
it?
So one more.
Yes.
And 10th one also is pop.
Vijay, infile or input?
Input, sir.
You'll get it, no? Multiple input statement or hash symbol or a forward slash. This one only, no?
Yes, sir. Sir, I have also a problem this data, sir.
What is the method you guys are using?
A forward
data
slash, sir,
and-
multiple input method. I didn't get data, sir.
Why?
Properly. Didn't get properly.
Why? What is that length that you are using for name?
So in
Did you
last
use
Name
it?
5 to 15, sir.
Okay.
It's showing in log there is no data for salary. Like
No, you will get it the data.
Sir, I didn't get
You copied this
properly.
data. You copied this data, or you copied the text file.
The text file,
text,
sir. I used forward slash also, sir. I didn't get.
Which one? 10th one, right? Input statement, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Input.
What are the variables that we have?
ID, name in first.
Second statement, second line ఏముందండి?
Only
Only
6.
six,
Sir.
huh?
Only 6.
థర్డ్ దాంట్లో ఏముందండి?
Age and salary.
Yes, sir.
This how we are getting.
Yes, sir.
I didn't tell you trunk or option. You know, I'm rating 1 to 15, right? So in the longest name ఏముందండి? Alfred Shaw or Robert John, right? So in starting column 5 ఉంది, ending column ఎంత ఉందో చూడండి? 15.
15, sir.
Can every time we do not require 5 to 15. Sometimes
Yes,
I require only 5 or 4 or 6, I like that one. So when we have such uneven short lines, we use an option called trunk over, just like how we scan over, miss over, stop over. In the same way, in the infinite statement, we use an option called trunk over.
Trunk. Okay. Sir, but
It's
my
always
friend got
mandatory to
a
use trunk over,
data,
sir.
sir. My friend got data, sir. I didn't. I didn't get.
Maybe because the problem is with the taken text file. Text file ఎవరు స్పేస్ ఇచ్చేసారనుకోండి, అప్పుడు ప్రాబ్లం వస్తుంది. అందుకే ఇక్కడ చూడండి, నేను కాపీ చేసినప్పుడు ఎలా కాపీ అయిందో చూడండి, ఇవి ఈ స్పేసెస్ వచ్చేసినాయి కదా.
Yes, sir.
Because of this one, you should use a trunk over.
She used raw data, sir, in-stream data.
Okay. Okay then.
Okay.
See you
Thank
tomorrow.
you.
Thank you.